other. Well, if I
Mhm.
choose, I have to sacrifice this, or because either way, you're going to sacrifice. Something needs to be sacrificed regardless. And sacrificing is not always a bad thing. We have this
Yes.
negative connotation about sacrificing as if we're giving up something. The Bible says he remembers in Psalms, y'all. I feel my little preach coming on. He
Come on.
remembers the sacrifices of those that made the sacrifices. So it's a good thing. He remembers your seed. He remembers what you have sown. I feel the oil of God.
Yes.
My God,
Yes.
today.
Yes.
Listen, okay. So we are going to I need somebody to know that. I need somebody to know that you are capable. You are more than able and you are worthy of it all. You are worthy of the life of abundance and realizing
Yes.
your I can. You are worthy of embracing it and holding on to it and sharing it with the world, allowing other people to know that you are meant to be in this space. You are meant to, write what you're writing about, sing what you're singing about. You are meant to be in the industry that you are in. You are meant to be that single mom. It's not a bad thing. It's not a mistake. It's not a God still has need of you and your story and your purpose and your passions and your gifts that He placed into you. So embrace it. Embrace where you are. Books
Yes.
can be windows into different worlds and cultures, as you already stated. Even if you never leave your front porch or your living room, but having books about other people travels in Paris or in Rome or in other cultures and countries and continents, you can live through their experiences and then create your own experiences, right? How do you see reading as a tool for children to discover, explore, and understand the diversity of our world? And you talked about that a little bit earlier today. And what kind of stories do you believe are most effective in achieving this?
Okay. I honestly think that stories that are not just relatable, but they're livable, right? Because there's a
Mhm.
child who doesn't have
Mm,
access to reading, right? And their life doesn't look like, well, like maybe your sons, my daughters, or whomever, right? Um, Knowing that if there's a
mhm,
book, you know, their life is an experience, and it's okay to write about things that people, how
mhm,
people are actually living, whether it's like you said, it's here in the states or
mhm,
just in the country, different continent. Knowing that if it's relatable, it's livable, because there's a child that's going to be able to relate to someone who doesn't have access to a book, or it's a child who has access to a
mhm,
book, right? Um, those are relatable things to children. It doesn't always have to look, pretty how we want it to be, because we want reading for kids. We want it to be like, oh, that's
mhm,
really cute. Sometimes it's not that, but it's okay,
mhm.
right? But I think it's just the
Oh,
way that we
wow.
approach it with children. It doesn't always have to be
Mhm,
uh, pretty, but it needs to be relatable. It needs to be something that they could absolutely gravitate to, understand, and know that they're not the only one. And so for me, you have to make sure that it's relatable, it's
mhm,
livable, and honestly, and kids want you to be honest too, you know, in your writing. It's okay to write
mhm.
about um, you know, fairy tales and all of that stuff. That's wonderful. But it's also okay to write about reality. And that's what I really focus on my books on, even though, it's a big truck in my book, but it teaches kids about the importance of trucks for us in our lives, and how we saw during COVID, right? How much
Mhm.
important trucks are, and we still see how important trucks
Right.
are with delivering the things that we need. And
Exactly.
as parents, of course, I'm sure we're like, yes, a lot of our stuff comes off trucks. So we need trucks, right? And so that's
Mhm.
relatable. That's livable, right? That's reality. And it's still
Mhm.
cute though. It's really cute.
Exactly.
So, and I think that's what's
Yeah.
important when I write. I want it to always be educational, um, but also something that they can relate to.
Exactly. And you never know how that would spark their interest in becoming that truck driver, or that person that works in a warehouse, or that person that, because all of those different areas, they're needed.
Yeah.
Sometimes we look at the pretty jobs that we want to do. Oh, we want to be a doctor. But if no one ever cleans out the sewers, what would
Yes.
happen? If no one ever takes out the trash, what would happen? If no one ever fixed the roads, what would happen? So some of these
Yes.
jobs that aren't so pretty, they are very valuable, and we don't want our children to make it. And that was one of my struggles, of being. I don't know if I remember sharing this in my book. You guys, I share so much. And different stories and different aspects of stuff. One of mine was, someone told me that, oh, because I want to be a cosmetologist. And they was like, is that all? Is there something else? Because everybody is that. And so that made me feel like I wasn't good enough. What I was doing, what I was going after wasn't good enough. I had to look for something that was pretty, that was had my name and lights and all these things. And so that sent me on a path of seeking after, positions or careers, or trying to figure out who I am in a pretty way, instead of like, God gave me the gift to be able to do hair. Even though I went to school and got my license and all those things, I still didn't feel like I was good enough. I still, and it caused me to self sabotage. And I don't want children, in reading your books, what help them to realize, oh, if I want to be someone who drives trucks, I can, because I need to get the food to my mom. I need to get the milk to the babies that need, it helps them to reframe their thinking,
Yes.
reframe, and start building confidence and who they are wanting to be in life, and not having to conform to someone else's thought and opinions about their choice and their career choice. And if they just want to work in a fast food restaurant and work their way up and then own it, hey, that's their prerogative. Don't tell them that it's not good enough, because it's needed. Because one, we still go to fast food restaurants. We still eat McDonald's. We still eat these places that most people will kind of, you working there and how long you been working there. But teaching them, hey, it's okay to work there. It's okay to work your way. If you, hey, learn everything you can in that franchise, so that you can then, if you want to be one that owns this, you can. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that we don't look at those jobs as lucrative, right? We don't think that they are going to pay very
Mm-hmm.
much. But you have people who started from the bottom and they
Mm-hmm.
work their way up to ownership or even CEO. You know what I mean? Those things can happen.
Yeah.
And it's okay to take jobs that don't look pretty, right? Um, there are jobs that we need
Mm-hmm.
people in, but we do not encourage 2 year or trade schools, right? We don't encourage that. We encourage 4 year, right? Schools, because, hey, you
Mm-hmm.
get a degree, you get a life, you start
Mm-hmm.
money, but then you also load it with debt. You know what I mean? Those things are not really talked about as much, right?
Yeah.
Have these 2 year schools, you have
Yeah.
these trade schools where you can learn something, you get this skill, you have a great skill set, whether it's electrician, you know what I mean, whether it's welding, truck driving,
Mm-hmm.
like you were saying, it could be anything. We
Exactly.
need these people, right? We absolutely need these people. And I think that if
Mm-hmm.
it's encouraged more, and it can also be seen as being lucrative too, because there are people who
Exactly.
own companies, trucking companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to encourage people.
Exactly.
Not everybody wants to go to a 4 year college. And some people don't want to go to school after going to school. Getting out of high school is like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do this, And that's okay. That is okay. I think we shouldn't
That's.
limit and their ability
Mm-hmm.
to them going to a 4 year or what's expected. And I should say this, as a parent, of course, um, I want my daughter to choose a field that she's happy with, right? Um, I also want her to know
Mm-hmm.
that you're going to choose a field. It is important that you're able to sustain also. It doesn't have to be, she right now she says
Mm-hmm.
she wants to be president of the United States, right? So I have to explain to her that you have to have a degree for that, right? She
Yeah.
wants to be president. And she's said this since she
Mm-hmm.
was probably 3. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, these are the things that it's going to take to be the president. And so right now,
Come on, president.
right, you know, that's
Mm-hmm.
the only, I think, job that hasn't wavered, right? And so, of course, I'll
Mm-hmm.
encourage that, but I will encourage any other interest that she has. Absolutely, absolutely, because we, what I want for
Mm-hmm.
her may look a little bit different, right? I don't know. I think the presidency is a hard job. You know what I mean? Because you have to please the masses.
Mm-hmm.
That is not something I would be interested in. Okay, not my deal.
Yeah.
But that's her deal. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that it's also the way that I cultivate her
Yeah.
thinking about it. You know. But if she wanted to work at a
Mm-hmm.
restaurant and own a restaurant, I would encourage her way of thinking about that too, and the steps that need to happen for her to be
Exactly.
successful. And so we have to make sure that we're doing that, cultivating
Exactly.
cultivating the things that are important to them, and also not putting our personal personal thoughts on them about it. Right? It's okay to of course parent, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like it may not be my thing. I wanted to be this when I was growing up, so maybe you should be this. You have parents doing that, and I'm like, I don't want to do that to her specifically. So I'll just encourage the things that she likes, and sometimes she'll outgrow those things, and sometimes she won't. But for children to have any interest,
Exactly.
any job, right, or any career field, um, allow their interest to actually grow, and you cultivate those things so that they can feel confident about what their choice is,
Mm-hmm.
and also um, and
Mm-hmm.
be honest with them about what the pros and cons are. But if the pros are outweighing the cons, it's okay to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
or to regroup about how you're thinking about getting to that particular goal of career that you want to be in. So we have to make sure that we are a safe space for them to
Right.
be able to grow and want those jobs. Sometimes that's not as societal view as lucrative. Um, I think that if they give it their all, they have to
Mm-hmm.
realize that's a lucrative job for them. That is something that they're proud of,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to instill those thoughts and make sure their
Mm-hmm.
mindset is gravitating toward things that are going to be healthy for them to produce in such a way that they will know that what they're doing is lucrative. Maybe not how society views it, but how
Right.
yeah.
Uh-huh. I absolutely 100% agree with cultivating where they are because that will change. You never know. It's the experience that they learn along the way, the wisdom that they gain along the way. But if you automatically just shut them down, they won't learn from that. They won't learn the whys or the why nots or how to, okay, I thought I wanted to be that because of this and that. But I see that I'm more so leaning into the direction of being a doctor or being a teacher or being someone that works in retail. I love helping my community in these areas. So all of those paths that they are taking, allow them to, like you said, allow them to explore it. Allow them to read about it, learn about it. And I think you're doing a fantastic job in allowing that to come to manifest through your books, especially like you said, big truck, and allowing them to understand the whys behind the big trucks and where they're coming from and where they're going and why they're going. Why do some drive so fast? Why do they pull over? Because sometimes rest is important. So
Yeah.
understanding all the ins and outs about what they are talking on, what they're seeing, and how to help them, properly interpret everything. Could you share a significant moment or feedback you received from a young reader or a parent that reaffirmed your belief in the impact of children's literature on young minds?
Okay. Yes, actually, I did a reading recently at a school, and the kids love the book. It's Making Room for Grandpa, right? That's the name of my second book, Making Room for Grandpa.
Oh,
And
that's
so
cute.
And it's a great book. It teaches kids about the importance of change and understanding love and support. And so I was talking to a teacher, and she said to me, she said, you know what? Um, this happened to me some years back, right? I wanted to make room for my parents, but they didn't want to move in with me and my family and things like that. But they're like, hey, no, this is your family. And so they ended up passing away a year after one another, right? I think her mom passed, and then the dad passed away.
Hmm.
And she was in tears because she realized like how important it is to make room for people that you love. And so when I talk to the kids about change, and they can think about changes that happen in their lives, that's not always comfortable, right? They may not always like the changes,
Hmm.
uh, what that look like for their family dynamics. um, some of the kids were like, hey, I maybe like one of my cousins were moving in with us, and I didn't like it. I didn't want to share my room, right? And that's a real situation, right?
Hmm.
That's something that they didn't like. And I
Yeah.
was, did it become easier? Did you talk to
Hmm.
your mom, talk to your dad about how you were feeling about this change? And how did it change your view
Right.
of having people in your personal space? And what does that look like for you to share your personal space with
Hmm.
someone? And so that particular child was like, I don't like it. I still don't like it, right? And I honestly had to
Hmm.
validate those feelings, because that's not always easy. As an adult, I say this all the time when I'm reading Making Room for Grandpa. As an
Yeah.
adult, we don't always like change. Especially if it doesn't feel good, if it's uncertain,
Hmm.
or if we just don't like it. And sometimes we just don't want to change, right? Or change a
Hmm.
situation, whether it's in our home, work, or whatever. And
Hmm.
so for children, I can only imagine not being able to feel like they can express how they're feeling about a change, or how they think
Hmm.
it looks that they don't want a particular situation to happen. And I think that having those conversations within the family unit about how everybody is feeling about the change, because it affects everyone, even if the change is still going to happen, it is okay to be expressive, and also express yourself in an appropriate way, right? And help manage those feelings that
Hmm.
you're feeling,
Hmm.
and also validate the feelings we consider negative feelings. I think that if you having a feeling,
Right.
sometimes it's
Yes.
not negative or positive. Sometimes it's just a feeling. And we're human. We're supposed to have these
Uh-huh.
feelings. But it's about how we express those feelings, those emotions. How do we express them? And so
Hmm.
those few instances rather, helped me greatly to realize how impactful Making Room for Grandpa is, and how people are actually going through so many different changes, and different cultures of people that I've spoken to. I remember this lady a few weeks ago. She walked up to me and she looked at the book, and she said, Making Room for Grandpa. Mm, my mother just moved in. I'm getting this book. That was it. She didn't want me to do my
Oh,
spill about what
wow.
it's about, right? She didn't want me to do the spill. She's
Yeah.
like, this is my life right now. So it doesn't matter what's in this book. I know this is a great
Hmm.
book. And so that made me feel really good, you know, that
Oh,
this book,
yeah.
yeah, it's relatable, and it also helps people realize it's okay to experience life, and it's not always pretty. But go ahead, Christy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you are, listen, I'm eating all up. That's all. I am soaking it all in. And it is needed, and people don't know how to make room for other people. Maybe they haven't been taught that. I was thinking about what was the conversation on the other side from the parent to the young child who said
Mm,
may have told their parent, I don't, want this. What was their response? Did they, validate, or did they shut down? Like, they're gonna, that's it. How we some people can do,
yeah.
of shutting down, that not allowing that a chance to, let's explore, why are you feeling like this, to help them, maneuver into this space. So I'm just thinking of both sides here of how that was a really great, bonding time and helping that child to feel much easier, with the process or with the, changes that's being made. But if they were shut down, then of course they will leave with the same feelings, the same way of thinking, because they didn't make room for their feelings. The parents didn't make room for that child, and so therefore, of course, well, I don't want nobody else in because that room wasn't made for them. It wasn't shown for them in that moment. So you're opening my mind up to a whole lot of reasons why we can become so I don't want change. Even the older people, grandparents, they're having a hard time with that transition as well. It's not just the child, not just you as an adult, but the grandparent, because now their independency is being taken away. They feel like, man, who I was and their confidence and all that is big. I got to move in with my child. I have to, when they were the one that was taking care. So we have to look at it from both spectrums here, not just the adult to that, or the cousin to the, other cousin, but how is that cousin feeling coming in to stay with you? They may be
Yes,
having the same reserves, but if
absolutely.
you were able to appropriately talk to that child about it, they would be able to make room for them as well. They could both talk about it.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
I
And
love
we
it.
have to also remember this.
Yes, ma'am.
Those children that are shut down so quickly, right? We have to remember that those children who are shut down so quickly and not
Mm-hmm.
always listened to, right? Or taken into consideration, they also become adults who are not being able to communicate and express themselves well either. So I just wanted to kind of
Mm-hmm.
touch as well. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So right. And so also too to touch on this thing too,
That
like
is so true.
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's just that I
No, no, no.
realized
Go
that
ahead. Go ahead.
oh, okay. So I realized that, not being able to express yourself in a situation that makes you feel uncomfortable or that you don't like, it
Mm-hmm.
allows for you to be easily taken advantage of sometimes, or people just be dismissive of your thoughts or your
Mm-hmm.
feelings about the situation. And so we have to be careful how we approach that too with children, or even adults, being dismissive of other people in general. I think we have to be mindful of that. And to share a thought about what you were saying about the transition overall, for everyone, like the grandparent or the other cousin, how they're feeling, because you're right, their lives change too. Their lives absolutely change and
Mm-hmm.
affects everyone. That independence from a parent or
Mm-hmm.
grandparent in the child who probably came from a home that was loving and then have to move in because life circumstances with their family or something like that, and now they
Mm-hmm.
don't have their own space and they're used to their own space as well, or not being able to have that privacy, or just have that family unit they're used to. All of that changes, and so we have to make sure that we're looking at everyone as a whole, and their feelings and how important their feelings are about the situation as well. Because change is not easy. It can be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And um, it can also be great too, right? Even though, but we have to get to a point
Mm-hmm.
where we feel like it's okay to have the change, even though the change is happening. How do we process that change? How do we navigate that change? You know?
Exactly. So I think that makes a, great time for sharing and breaking stereotypes, changing the status quo, because little people become big people. They go out into the workplace, they're going to be we have the next generation coming up, and like, are we going to, or do we want to be treated the way we're treating them, how we're responding to children right now, as if they don't have a voice? Or, I know that's, there are some parents that are changing into more, oh, let me hear what you're saying, and versus the, children don't have a voice, be seen and
Mhm.
not heard, type of ordeal. But if that's the way you're treating them now, then listen, you're going to come to the, be the one that's going to them later on and needing something from them. Do you want the response that you're giving to them now? or any other child that may have come from that? Do you want to be the one that is receiving, that response? So being mindful of the seeds that we plant, the seeds, that's what's going to grow. And that's what's going to be harvested. We're going to reap, as the word of God says, we're going to reap what we are sowing. So being mindful of what we are sowing, being intentional about the seeds that we are planting, because I want to reap. Listen, if I go to someone else's child, I want to reap good. So I want to sow that into my children, because I know that when I go to someone else's child and they may be working in a place where I need their help, at a restaurant, at a doctor's office, at a gas station, wherever, I want to be able to reap good from them. I want to find favor with them. But the seeds I'm sowing now will determine that. Miss Rae,
Yes,
this was so good.
yes, yes.
This is. I hope that I forgot about we are. I forgot this was a recording. This is a live. So I'm like, I'm all in it now. This just got really personable. It got like, I'm in your living room. You're in my. We're having girl
Yes,
talk. We're talking about the things. We're talking about our experiences and the way we want, our children to grow up, and how we want to, be the influencers in their life. You want to
yes.
be the influencer in their life in a positive way. Are there any last words that you would like to leave with our audience? Our audience, listen. I kind Y'all are still with us, right? Y'all still with us. We kind of just went one-on-one here. We were just all in this.
Yes, yes. Um, I would say my last words would be honestly making sure that you make room for people you love, for one, right? And also that love
Hmm.
you. Make room for what you're interested in. Make room for what your possibilities are. Make room for what you're capable of. Make room for trusting in God, right? Make room for living for God. Um, make
Hmm.
room love. Make room to uh, be confident in whatever path that God chooses for you, and walk in that firmly in His Word. So that's what I would say. I really have enjoyed this, Christy. You are absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate this conversation and having you apart. How can we find you? How can they get your books? How can they, get you to speak or be a part of whatever they are in need of to bring what you have into their community?
Absolutely. All right. So my social media handles are Rae Lee Presents, right? Facebook, Instagram, I'm on there, of course. Let's see. You can reach me at raylee@gmail.com. Also rayleepresents.com, my what do you call it? My website, and you can book me and things like
You,
that. My books, of course. Oh, I'm so sorry. You don't have to show my books. So this is Making Room for Grandpa. Oh, there we
yeah,
go. So,
there it is. I
yeah.
love it.
And then this is Big Truck, Big
Oh my
Truck.
gosh.
They're on Amazon. And please, if you love these books or want to read more about these books, please get them. They're on Amazon. They are great reads. They're educational. They're relatable. They're fun.
Hmm.
And yeah, so yeah, that's how you can get in contact with me.
Awesomeness. Okay, I know what we'll be getting for Christmas for my nieces and nephews. So if you all have nieces or nephews, listen, I know they have grandparents.
Yes.
So you may want to go ahead and get those books, okay, and put them under their tree or in their stockings, or
Yeah.
holidays is coming up, so they will make awesome, awesome, awesome giftings, okay. If you enjoyed what you heard, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving us a review. Thank you so much for joining us today on What's Your Arcane Conversation. We hope you found this episode insightful and engaging. Listen, your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our show. Don't forget to visit my website, linktree/Christy Angeli, for more resources and to stay updated on our latest episodes. Make sure you have clicked that notification bell, okay? And as always, if you have a topic you like us to explore or a guest you like to hear from, feel free to reach out to us on social media or by leaving a comment below. Until next time, remember that you are capable. Take care and stay tuned for more every Friday.